here he is. How are you, Maxie?
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You are the man, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so this is book number 3. And he came in, I said, is this book number 3? He said, yes, best sandwich book in the world ever. That's how you roll, isn't it?
That is, yeah.
Why not? You're all in.
Oh, yeah. Turned up to 52 rather than 11.
All right, mate. Congratulations. Well done. So much to talk about in your book. You brought in some food. What have you brought for us today?
I brought a selection of amazing mega sarnies. I brought one from the book, the lasagna sandwich. One of my guiltiest pleasures, of which I sadly have many, is the day after I make lasagna, I always keep some cold lasagna.
Yeah.
And the next day, I put it in a croissant.
Yeah.
And I put that in my sandwich toasting machine.
I know. And
it
sounds wrong. It sounds like all the wrong. And it is. But it's right.
So good.
At the same time.
Yeah. And so I brought the lasagna sandwich from the book, which is not just a slab of lasagna.
Right.
It is a sandwich that tastes like lasagna.
Got it.
But doesn't actually have lasagna in it.
What?
So goat bolognese, taleggio bechamel, pickled mirepoix, which is carrot, onion and celery.
Oh my gosh.
Andouille mayonnaise, and do you like it? Yes, I do. And rocket and baby gem, which is the salad I always have with lasagna.
I've got to say, I mean, you know, there's been a lot of talk about you appearing on the show. And you're delivering on all counts.
Thank you.
I can see a slow fried egg in there somewhere.
Yeah. That in the ham and chip sandwich, which is like my sandwich shop signature.
It really
sarnie.
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a whole section on sides here. And in the book, you teach us how to slow fry an egg.
I know. I wrote in the introduction to that recipe a recipe for fried eggs on my head be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to slow fry an egg
Yep.
is something people don't do, where you crack an egg
Yep.
into the pan cold
Yep.
and very, very, very slowly heat it up. And what you end up with is like that beautiful, really firm white, a bit more like a boiled egg,
Yep.
but still with a runny yolk.
Yep.
And for me, that is
I know,
just
and
delicious.
you're so right. I mean, I have a whole thing about how to fry an egg as well. And Marco Pierre White, when he was interviewing chefs, when he was at the peak of his industry, he would only ask them to do one thing: fry an egg. Because if they can't fry an egg,
what can they do?
Yeah, what can they do?
Yeah.
You know, you can do all the fancy smanchy stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so many different ways of frying an egg. You know, what about once you've fried the perfect egg, what about how do you make your sandwich? Can I have a little go at this?
Yeah,
okay, so here we go.
Please.
So what I would do, regardless of how you fry your egg, I would fry mine differently, but I understand and respect your way of frying an egg. I have my own thing, won't go into it now, it takes too long. But I have... Just talking about it now makes my mouth water. You know how this is. So when I butter the bread, and we mark butter, we don't knife butter on.
Yes.
So we get a plastic spatula, and we scoop in, and then we mark the bread like that because we have loads of kids. So it takes a long time. So it's 2 scrapes or 2 passes of the spatula as opposed to I enjoy buttering bread. It's a nice thing to do, isn't it? It's like palette painting with a palette knife.
It's satisfying.
That kind of thing. But what we do is we butter our bread like that with a spatula, and then we have a catching slice underneath, because when we slice the bread, if we slice it into quarters or cut our sandwich into quarters, we know there's going to be some oak spillage. We don't want it to go onto the plate because it will emulsify on the plate because of the coolness of the plate.
Indeed.
So we need the catching slice.
Yeah.
So we have this sort of
Wonderful.
safety net.
Wonderful.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Your eyes have
like
lit
a
up.
crash mat.
I didn't think
An
your eyes...
edible crash
yes,
mat.
That's Sorry, it's not my interview, it's yours. I do apologise. What else have you brought in for us?
So the ham, egg and chips, my sandwich shop's signature sarnie,
God,
and then
so good.
a spring roll sandwich and a
good.
samosa sandwich.
So good.
Yeah, for me, crunch is the element missing in most sarnies. Right. And we live in a world where people say lettuce is crunchy, but for me, that's an abomination. Crisps are crunchy. Yeah. And so there are herbs in both of those sarnies, but the crunch comes from the spring roll wrapper or the phyllo pastry around the samosa.
And in your signature ham, egg and chip sandwich, the crunch comes from the chips, because the chips aren't what you think, are they?
No, they're shoestring fries, or what the French call allumettes, because they're the same dimensions as a matchstick. Yeah, and we don't season those, which I know is sort of... People are a bit like, oh, how could you not season some crisps? But the truth is the rest of the sandwich is relatively salty, so they don't really need it.
Right, this is a fun book. It's a big book. It's a happy book to have in your kitchen. Max's World of Sandwiches. Max Halley and Ben Bentham. So you talk about bread in the book. the sandwiches you brought in today all seem to be on the same bread. Is this your go-to bread?
Yes, this is the bread. I made this bread this morning at about 6 o'clock.
Control round of applause for that, please.
Thank you.
Above and beyond, there was no need to do that. We wouldn't have known, but he did it. Do we believe
That's
him?
why I told you.
One more time, like you mean it. Do we believe him? Yeah! I believe you.
Good. I mean, I really did make it.
I bet you did.
And we make all the bread at the sandwich shop, and we only make this, which is focaccia.
Right.
Because what you want with sandwiches with very juicy fillings is crust everywhere.
Right.
Because then you can put more juicy things in. You can have a more liberal attitude
Because
to
there's a
mayonnaise.
resistance.
Exactly,
There's a
without the thing
boundary.
falling apart.
Practical boundary
Exactly.
to your joy.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, look, bread is a huge part of sandwiches, and I think choosing the right bread for the right sarnie is a big part of making good sarnies.
All right, coming in hot on the right, of course, you have made what's the word? You have acknowledged the vegan in the house, haven't
Yes.
you? What have you got for Vassos?
We have a samosa sandwich and a spring roll sandwich.
Names, real names?
So the spring roll one is called This Is How We Spring Roll.
Nice.
So we pickle the vegetables that you would get traditionally in a spring roll: bean sprouts, cucumber, chili, and carrot. Then we wrap the pickles in a spring roll wrapper and deep fry them. And then you have a kind of MSG fermented black bean mayonnaise.
Right.
And then in the samosa one, there's lime pickle mayo.
Real name samosa?
How am I samosa no?
How am I samosa? No! And these are the real names.
Yes, it's not easy being this brilliant.
You should call your bread focaccia if you can.
Yes. From now on we will. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Focaccia in the rye.
You have always... By the way, it's even better. Rye bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, focaccia and the rye. It's a combo.
Bread.
It's a combo. So you have always applied a sort of sushi mindset to your sandwich making, in as much as you are, like you say, you're all in. You are completely committed to the sandwich. Obviously, you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
But you can only really have fun with any kind of business if actually at the core of it, you've got a serious setup and a seriously good offer to the customer.
Absolutely. Fundamentally, above all other things, deliciousness comes first.
Yeah, you can put the fun in the fundamental, but you have to the demental.
Exactly. You can mess around and do silly things and, be shouty and loud, and like I am in the sandwich shop. But fundamentally, what matters most is that the things you're selling are delicious.
Right.
Because that's what makes people happy.
The quality of your book is not dissimilar to the quality of your sandwiches. I know about a bit about publishing because we've written a few books between us.
Yeah.
But the thickness of your paper,
Yes,
it's not a cheap book to make,
no,
is
they've
it?
gone all in.
They really have. Oh my God, I've got a French thing.
You've got Chris is choking on a crisp.
Yeah, gosh. Some people are cheering that to the rafters. I like the various sections in your book. They're all colour-coded, which is great.
Yeah.
So it looks good on the shelf. The mayo section, you had my wife at the mayo section. Our kids love mayonnaise.
Oh, well, this is the book for them.
I know.
There are many, many, many brilliant things to blend up and mix into mayonnaise. So two of the kind of MOs of my sandwich shop are when we get a new ingredient and we don't know what to do with it, the two questions we ask ourselves are, can you blend it up and mix it into mayonnaise? And what will happen when we throw it in the deep fat fryer?
Right, what will happen?
That basically, you can figure out everything about an ingredient from doing those two things.
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, 12 genuine recipes in there for different mayos.
Yeah.
So I do love mayo myself. I love a bit of mayo.
Me too.
My wife said, can you screenshot the pickled cucumber section? How to pickle your cucumbers and how to smack your cucumber. I hadn't even heard of smacked cucumber. What is it?
Wonderful. A Chinese salad, basically.
I didn't know that.
Where you lie a cucumber on your chopping board or something, and literally whack it whack it with the the handle
Bit
of a
of
knife
therapy.
or something, and what it does is you hit it until the cucumber cracks,
Right.
and what it does is it kind of shatters the bit where the seeds are, so that when you then dress them,
Right.
the cucumber kind of soaks up much more of the dressing than it would do if you just cut the cucumber into chunks.
Right.
So it kind of it allows the cucumber to soak up
It's a good
sauce.
hack, that, isn't it?
Very good.
Yeah,
It's a great
it's
hack.
one of those things. It's like worth doing.
Yeah,
That
we do that with with pomegranates. Have you ever
Yeah,
done
yeah, exactly. You whack it and they all and all the seeds come
I know,
out.
it's great. Have you got any other hacks like that for us?
I don't know. There must be loads of stuff you can whack.
we were thinking about hacks last night, just because we were talking about your book. We had fun with it around the kitchen. Kids love this book. They're like, Dad, when we're having all these sandwiches, when Mum has the time to sort them out.
Yeah.
Because she was all over this, and I was like, I can do it. No, step away from the sandwich book.
Yeah.
We're all getting very excited.
I do have something to say, actually, that I think is good. So, obviously, bread goes off quite quickly.
Yeah. Well, some last forever.
At home, when you have stale bread or like rolls or buns or something, what you do is get your oven hot and put a baking tray with some greaseproof paper in and run the bread roll under the tap, which obviously people don't think you could do. To wet bread seems a bit weird.
Yes.
But then you put the wet bread into the hot oven and give it about 5 minutes, and when you take it out again, it will be as fresh as the moment it was baked.
Is this the second coming of the bread?
I saw that. I saw this
bread
with
resurrection?
sourdough on Instagram.
I mean, it works with all breads, really. They
wet it, like soak it under the tap, shove it in the oven. It comes out like fresh bread.
Yeah, it's like a miracle. I mean, bread is kind of a miracle anyway, isn't it? But it is.
Is there an echo
it's
in here,
amazing.
Vassos?
No, I know, but this just that is
It's amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it. I actually want to get some bread so that it can go off. So I can
Stale
do
some
it.
bread.
Yeah.
I now stale all my bread at home.
My dad, before, because he's a big Hovis fan, my dad, and he would only have it on the third day.
Yeah.
So we'd get Hovis, he'd buy the Hovis.
Chewier.
Yeah, we'd go to open it, and he said, no, it's not ready
It's
yet.
not ready.
It's not ready yet.
It also makes better toast.
Yeah, it does make better toast. Vegetable samosas. And in the vegetable samosa section, you have here what I thought, he must have been a bit bored. He's given us some origami diagrams. But it's samosagami.
It's how to fold a samosa.
This is great.
Yeah.
How do you fold a samosa? That makes me want to do it.
Yeah, it's
You're
fun.
good at this stuff.
Yeah, thanks,
Max.
mate.
And also, you got the right name, Max. He's taking it to the max, aren't you? What else did I like here? Schnitzels. I love schnitzels.
Oh, there ain't no treat like a breaded meat.
Oh my God.
Hey.
I said earlier on before you arrived on the air, I said it does get quite serious, happily serious, but it gets quite serious, quite focused around the meat and fish section. You really, that's when you go, oh, hang on a minute, this is literally the meat of the book.
Yeah, and what I really wanted to do was kind of to sneak a serious cookbook on people, because I think it's a kind of quite a serious cookbook masquerading as a silly book about sandwiches.
Yeah.
And actually, there's hundreds of recipes in it. There's 41 sandwiches and then hundreds of other recipes for things to do. Because my hope is that the sandwiches in the first half of the book, that as well as being kind of a list of things to do, traditional recipes, they're also just to provide inspiration for people to think, oh my God, there must be so many things that actually people can put in sandwiches that they never thought to do.
Because you are so original, I'm going to do something we've never done before. You ready for this?
Yes.
We're going to have a quick fire round.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
A Tale of Two Toasties. What are they? Which wins?
Yeah. The Tale of Two Toasties is because there was Thomas Edison invented the sandwich toaster machine.
Right.
But it failed as a concept, and then it wasn't until an Australian man whose name temporarily escapes me made the same machine but crimped the edges, and the toastie was born, or the jaffle as they call it in Australia.
That got him across the line? Crimping the edges?
Because then when you toasted it, as the inside of the sandwich got hot, nothing came out.
Sealed.
So you ended up with like hot pockets.
Yeah, and now it's the other way around, isn't it? People like the artisan.
Yeah, with more like a panini press. Right? But I love a Breville. Yeah. Like I was saying about lasagna, cut open a croissant, put a slab of lasagna in it, and put it in your Breville.
Calm down.
Oh, I've done it with dauphinoise, potatoes. So naughty.
What is the? By the way, the quick fire round continues.
That's all right.
What is the sabich?
The sabich are one of the great sandwiches of the Israeli street food scene. A boiled egg and a chopped salad, tahini, amber, which is a bit like piccalilli, aubergine, a wonderful thing. In
the
a
most
pita.
outrageous. And by the way, it's an outrageous book. It's a joyously outrageous book. Congratulations, well done. It's right up our
Thank
screen.
you.
The most outrageous and this most outrageously joyous of sandwich books is on page 47. Yes, you know what's coming? You know what's coming in hot here? It's the how very dare he? My simple question to this is, how dare you, right? A hot cross bun with salted caramel ice cream. How dare you?
Yes, I dare very well. Thank you very much. Absolute banger that is. Like, you hollow out a hot cross bun, fill it up with salted caramel ice cream, and also you bake bake a hot cross bun and blitz it up into crumbs and put that inside. I like that. That's a wonderful
That's
sandwich.
as Heston as you get, isn't it?
That is so good.
So that is very, 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 very.
And how nice that sandwiches can be your pudding as well as your savoury food.
Did you invent this one?
I believe so, yeah.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Great. That is great. Some people have been nicking that for sure. All right, the red section of the book: triangles, rectangles, squares. Who cares?
Who cares?
Tell us about
Exactly.
that. Come on.
That is, I get an enormous volume of direct messages on social media calling me a complete idiot because a hot dog is not a sandwich. And I always say, in the answer to the eternal question of is a hot dog as a sandwich, is the same as to triangles, rectangles, or squares. Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Taramasalada?
Yes.
Taramasalada or Cod's Raw?
Yeah. Depends where you're from.
What are you going with, son? I love a bit of taramasalada, don't you?
Me too.
Do you make your own?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And there's a lovely recipe in there. That's in the sandwich. There's a pickled prawn banh mi in there, and that the taramasalata, it goes in that.
So your Fab Four of sandwiches that you literally put bread on your own table via, what are they again?
Hey, what do you mean, sorry?
At the shop, don't you have a famous four?
Yeah, well, we only have 4 on the menu
Four
at
on
any
the
one
menu.
time.
Got it.
This one, the ham, egg and chips, is always
Oh,
on
right,
the
I
menu.
didn't know that. So it's ever-changing, but there's only ever 4.
There's
That
only
makes
ever
so
4.
much sense from a business point of view, doesn't it?
Yeah, and from a storage point of view. Like,
That's what I mean.
The sandwich shop's tiny.
Yeah.
And so we don't have, if we had 10 things on the menu, we'd have to have 2, there's too much stuff.
Yeah.
So we just have 4 so that we have to make things in smaller volumes.
I get it. So my favourite sandwich shop, because I've never been to yours, forgive me, but I haven't.
You will have to come.
I'm going to have to come one day. But it's just the wrong way on the way home.
Bring the kids.
Yeah, I'll bring the kids, but they live at home, which is miles away. But anyway, no, don't worry, it will happen. But I go to Paul Rowe's place on Marylebone Lane. Have you heard of Paul Rowe's Cafe?
Yes.
And so Paul and his son...
I love it in there. Like coronation chicken and stuff
ever.
like that.
It's the best ever.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about his fillings. And I said, what time do you get up in the morning to make all these fillings?
Yeah.
They do have a bigger menu.
Yeah.
He says, we don't. He says, we actually buy our...
buy the stuff in.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to
because
when
they
you've got that
wouldn't
much
make
stuff.
it otherwise.
But I do love that shop. The little tables, like the guys wearing the white coats.
So Paul Senior, who's still there.
Yeah, the one with the glasses.
Yeah,
right?
so he's in his 70s. He's 4th generation in that shop.
Yeah.
And his son is 5th generation.
Yeah, it's so cool.
They got all the pictures of before the First War, not let alone the Second World War.
Yeah, I love that place. Paul Roth and Sons.
So you must have been asked to franchise your business. And I got caught because I used to have a pub, and then we expanded to 3 pubs. Big mistake. You either go 1 or 20, but you don't go. Not in our experience anyway. It was a big. So the first one was successful, then was unsuccessful because of the other 2.
Yeah.
Do you have a similar mindset on that? Or?
Look, for now, I've just got 1. And this is the 10th year of my sandwich shop.
Right.
And to be honest, I have had
you
more
have.
venture capital offers to open 100 of them than I could
Have you
shake a
actually?
stick at. Yeah, for
Wow.
real. Because those guys are always on the lookout for, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, the next big thing or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I always just say that it's like, 1 is fun.
Yeah.
And that is how I
That's
want it to
interesting,
stay.
isn't it? 1 is fun.
Yeah, because 1, it's been open for 10 years. It runs extremely well. It basically runs at capacity. It couldn't really be much busier. And that's where things can stay fun.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We were talking about that yesterday with the show, because I used to do other things and this show, and then TV shows and other things, and side hustles are fine. I was thinking about it on the way home yesterday, thinking, did I mean that, what I said? Yeah, of course I meant it, otherwise I wouldn't have said it. But what did I mean by it, I suppose, is a better question. Because there's nothing wrong with a side hustle, but if it at all takes away from the thing you love, why?
Yeah, indeed.
If you have a side hustle going on, it may well be because you think, well, one day if the main thing isn't happening, I need something to fall back on. But if it detracts from what you're doing, it may actually be the reason that what you're doing ends up not happening anymore.
Absolutely.
So I am sort of with you. No, I'm totally with you on that.
Thank you.
How many people do you have working with you?
There's 8 people who work in the sandwich shop.
Right, and how does it work? Is it a line?
No, it's
system?
sort of no. The kitchen bit looks like a conventional restaurant kitchen, to
Right.
be honest. And then in the table in the restaurant, there's 8 tables, so we
Right.
have 28 seats.
Do you have to book, or
altogether.
is it?
You can't book.
Can't
just
book.
have to turn up.
And is it
Yeah.
always
and again,
packed?
taking bookings is is a real fun killer
Right.
for the people running the business.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
bookings are a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just have
And also,
first come first served.
no matter what you do to sort of firewall against it, there is virtual queue jumping and all that. Whereas if you stand outside and you queue, you are invested in what you're queuing up for.
Yeah.
And it's
You can have a drink.
Yeah, and you don't have to queue. I've done this. I've done it outside Paul Rowe's shop. I've queued for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I've thought, you know what? Even though I've been in the queue 15 minutes, not for me today.
Yeah, or I'll just get a takeaway.
Yeah, and that's having queued for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't find it a wasted time. I'll contemplate things, I'll catch up on my messages, I'll chat to the other people in the queue. I might queue for a bit, and if it starts raining, I think, no, it's not worth it, or whatever. But it's a different mindset, and it can get you across the line to do with a life philosophy. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Have you seen the show on Netflix, Somebody Feed Phil?
Yes, I have.
Has he been to your shop?
No.
Because he did
I
London,
think
didn't he?
he'd love it.
He would adore it.
Yeah.
Because he's been to the equivalent places in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think,
Yeah,
that's what we're
why
like?
isn't he in our sandwich shop?
You're very like him, actually.
Yeah.
You have a real joy about you. Have you always been like this?
Yes. My mum told me when I was about 13 that I should never forget how lucky I am to have been born stupid enough to wake up every day thinking everything's going to be all right. And I don't know, but I do think everything's going to be all right.
Good for you.
And that makes enjoying life relatively easy.
Yeah, we got this great thing. I wrote it on my garage wall the other day. Enjoy what you can, endure what you have to. But the enjoying what you can, if you are honest with yourself and you have the right perspective, will far outweigh the enduring what you have to.
Absolutely.
Because you've had the tough times, I would imagine.
Of course, like many terrible things have happened, but I don't know. I'm not going to let them ruin my life.
Yeah.
Things can ruin your day,
Yeah.
but you should try not to let them ruin your life.
Yeah, you don't have to pour petrol on the fire that's already,
No.
doing pretty well without
fan
you.
the flames or
Don't
whatever.
fan
Yeah,
the
you don't
flames.
have to do that.
Yeah,
no.
they call it suffering the second arrow. So if in Zen Buddhism, so if you get shot by an arrow, that hurts enough. Don't create a second arrow to go in the same wound. No need for that. I haven't touched one of these sandwiches because I wanted to give you a proper interview. But
you.
I am going to die. What have I got again?
Well,
I'm
try
gonna-
the ham, egg and chips, because
gonna-
that's like the Sarnie shop signature one.
All right.
Here, I'm going to have a bite as well.
Okay. Now, we all want the bit of the sarnie with the yolk. How do you guarantee that? Come on.
Oh, difficult. You have to look and bite that bit.
Mr. Sandwich. Okay.
Excuse me, speaking with my mouth full.
Not the first time you've had this sandwich.
No, well, not my first rodeo.
Oh, wow.
Come on, that is a banger.
It's great. And because you've slow fried the egg, the yolk hasn't dried out.
No.
And I
But the
presu-
white is firmly set.
Yeah, and I presume this has been made for quite a while now.
Yeah, I made those in the shop and then got the tube down here with them. So
Because if you get a bacon egg sandwich, it's very hard to get the yolk right like a beef Wellington because the heat of the bacon will carry on cooking the...
yes,
Yolk.
yeah,
So that's why I always put the bacon underneath the white to try and insulate the yolk as much as I can from
absolutely.
the residual heat.
That is the
got all
technique I'm
this going
talking
on.
about. And well, this sandwich is made exactly that. There's the hot ham hock goes in, then the piccalilli on top of that, a cold barrier, and then the egg on top of that.
How are you over there?
Oh, very nice. I've very much enjoyed How Am I Supposed Samosa No. You can see there's not much left of that. I'm about to dive into This Is How We Spring Roll. And also, I was very pleased to see, as a Greek, that you've included the gyros.
Yes,
In
one of the
your
world's great sandwiches.
One of the world's
Come
great
on, tell us
sandwiches.
more,
Yeah.
you two. Come on, riff on that.
So, the recipe in that I've put in the book is the traditional gyros recipe. So a pita. Essentially a Greek flatbread with sort of pork cooked a bit like how you would cook a doner kebab on a spit, with oregano. The Greeks love oregano, tomato, onion, and now a lot of the time chips get put in it. I was told by my Greek friend that his granny would have thought the chips were an absolute disgrace, but that now
Sacrilege.
now I think chips in sandwiches is quite fun. And that is, not a complicated sandwich, but such a wonderful meeting of things.
I see that, and I'm transported back to the island of Evia and my
Yeah.
grandfather's house by the sea.
Aye.
There's also a sandwich in here that you basically drink from a bag.
Yes, the torta ahogado. So my wife is Mexican. And that is a Mexican thing from Guadalajara, where they put a sandwich in a bag So you get these sort of braised pork. They put it in a little, like a mini baguette. And then that goes into a bag and they ladle in tomato salsa, chopped habanero and red onion. And it's like, honestly, and you have to eat it out of the bag. And I sort of thought when I had that, I was like, hang on, this is the dawning of a new day where like when a sandwich can be so wet that you can't pick it up. You have to eat it out of a bag. And
how come you're on board with that, but you're completely anti the open sandwich? Because that seems like
the open sandwich is not a sandwich. It's just stuff on bread.
Well, it didn't sound like that was much of a sandwich. You're ladling it into your gob.
But that is still a sandwich. You put stuff between two bits of bread.
I'm not sure about this. All of a sudden, I think we found a chink in his armour. Would you say that the UK is the... I mean, you are biased, but I know you're not a biased person. So if you zoom out, would you say that the UK is the world's sort of hub for sandwiches? Does any other nation come close to it? I mean, we invented the sandwich, didn't we?
Look, well, I don't know. Look, we are meant to. When John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, asked for a piece of cold roast meat between two slices of bread, it is alleged that was, the invention of the sandwich. But the truth is, most of the world wraps things in gluten. And that if, like I said about the hot dog, like you could argue all day, is the hot dog a sandwich or not? Look, it's stuff and bread. And if you look at the gyros, the kebab, the bao in Taiwan, like these are all things that really are ideologically sandwiches. And so I don't think...
But a sandwich is a verb, isn't it? It is a verb.
Yes, it is.
And to pitter is not a verb.
No,
so
that's true. Touche.
We do sandwich things in between bread.
We
and that
do
is a
sandwich things, yes.
I don't know.
No,
because often we're asked to describe, aren't we? What is the UK's, what is the cuisine? And you go, I'm not quite sure, really.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the sandwich.
Maybe it's the sandwich.
Yeah, in which case...
that'd be cool.
You're onto a good thing here, mate.
Yeah, I'm onto a winner.
All right, the book's out now, Max's World of Sandwiches. Anything else you'd like to say, Max? You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome and well done. Social media, where do people find...
at Lunch Luncheon is my Instagram. If anyone wants to... send me some abuse about whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich. That's where they should do it.
He's heard it all before. Yeah, there's PM queues and there's Max's sandwich queues. And there's queues outside his shop, which are massive. And that's all you need. You can be seen from the moon. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Thanks very much.
Virgin Radio.